Have you ever noticed that imagining something feels easier than actually doing it? You can picture the future. You can think through the outcome. You can feel the relief of it without taking a single step. And for that moment, it feels motivating. But then nothing moves. What most people don't realize is that this habit doesn't just affect focus and productivity, it actually changes how your brain experiences reward. And over time, it quietly drains motivation. This video is brought to you by my HarperCollins published book, Mind Over Explicit Matter. If you're ready to quit porn and reclaim your life mentally and physically, go over to drtrishleigh.com/book. Your brain is wired to seek reward and to avoid pain. That's not a flaw. That's survival. But when stimulation comes without risk, without effort or reciprocity, the brain maladapts. It learns something subtle but incredibly powerful. I can feel better without engaging. Internally generated stimulation, imagining, replaying, fantasizing, gives the nervous system relief without requiring presence, vulnerability, or action. That's the hijack, my friend. I know it feels harmless, it feels private, it may even feel productive. But neurologically, it's teaching the brain that effort isn't necessary for reward. The brain is always trying to predict the safest, most efficient way to get reward. When reward is consistently generated internally through imagination, fantasy, or mental rehearsal, it arrives without uncertainty. There's no risk of rejection, no discomfort, no exposure, no delay. From the brain's perspective, that's efficient. Over time, the nervous system learns a new rule. Reward can be accessed without engaging the external world. That's when novelty becomes the driver. The brain starts seeking stimulation that is internally controlled, instantly available, emotionally soothing, effort-free. This isn't a conscious decision. It's learning. This pattern doesn't form because you wanted it to. It forms because the brain adapts, that is, maladapts, to the repetition. At the end of this video, I will link to the video where I dive much deeper into how fantasy, that hijack, miswires your brain. But for right now, I want to focus on the rewire because the brain doesn't need to be punished out of this novelty-seeking pattern. Instead, it needs to relearn where reward belongs. This is where we make a very important distinction. Fantasy collapses motivation. Vision restores it. Fantasy delivers reward without requiring engagement. It lets the brain experience the feeling of the outcome without building the capacity to reach it. Vision works very differently. Vision doesn't imagine having the result. It imagines becoming the person who takes the steps to accomplish the result. Fantasy ends in relief. Vision begins with responsibility. Fantasy asks nothing of the nervous system. Vision gently trains it to tolerate effort, uncertainty, and growth. That's why fantasy feels good and then leaves you stalled, and why vision feels challenging at first, but restores momentum over time. When visualization helps motivation, it's not because you imagined the outcome. It's because you trained the brain to stay engaged with the process. The mistake most people make is visualizing success. That gives the brain a reward signal without requiring effort. Instead, effective visualization focuses on showing up. You imagine yourself starting. You imagine staying present even when it's uncomfortable. You imagine continuing even when it doesn't feel good yet. not the result, the experience of doing. This matters because the brain learns through rehearsal. When you visualize embodied effort, dopamine stays linked to the engagement instead of the relief. The prefrontal cortex remains active, helping you tolerate discomfort and maintain direction. And the nervous system begins to register effort as safe instead of threatening. That's what rewires your brain for motivation. Effective visualization is brief and highly specific. 30 to 60 seconds is enough. Instead of imagining the finish line, focus on the beginning. See yourself start, stay present, and move through the first moments of effort. Include a mild sense of discomfort so the brain can rehearse tolerance rather than avoidance. Keep the visualization sensory by noticing what you see, what you feel, and how you experience it while doing the action. Then end with movement. Visualize and immediately take one small step. This keeps imagination working as a bridge into action, not a substitute for it. Before you visualize, the environment matters. If your nervous system starts the day overstimulated, it's already in relief-seeking mode. Reaching for your phone, turning on noise, stacking stimulation before your brain is even awake. That makes fantasy more likely and effort less tolerable. So instead, simplify the beginning. Create a quiet moment. It's my favorite thing to do. No phone, no scrolling, no mental escape. Maybe the moment is your coffee, a few deep breaths, soft light, stillness before stimulation. Then visualize briefly, not the outcome, but the act of starting. And after that, take one intentional moment of effort. No multitasking, no distraction, just engagement. Then stop. That sequence matters. Action, feedback, rest. When you do this consistently, the brain learns a new rule. Movement is safe. Effort doesn't need to be avoided. Engagement leads to regulation. This is how reward gets reattached to action, not intensity, not escape, not participation. If you want to know if your brain is avoiding through fantasy, go check out the quiz at drtrishleigh.com. You'll find it very interesting. Okay, so for many people, these strategies help immediately. Quieting stimulation, visualizing engagement instead of escape. Take one intentional step before relief. And yet, some people still feel resistance. They do the right things, and effort still feels heavier than it should. That's not failure. That's information. Because here's the truth. Not every nervous system is in the same starting place. Some brains are mildly dysregulated. Others have deeply ingrained closed-loop reward patterns. Some have learned to shut down effort almost automatically. And from the outside, they all look the same. This is where most people get stuck. They keep applying strategies without knowing what their specific brain actually needs. That's where brain mapping changes everything. A brain map shows us what's been invisible up until the point that we meet. It reveals where reward is looping internally. It shows whether regulation systems are underactive or overactive. Sometimes they can be both. It can show us how much effort the brain can realistically tolerate right now. We also can see which networks need support before motivation can return. Instead of guessing, we can see why visualization works for some people and not for others. Why effort feels safe in one brain and threatening in another. Why motivation collapses at a predictable point. This isn't about labeling or diagnosing. It's about understanding how your brain maladapted. And once you understand this maladaptation, you can rewire it. If you're ready to stop pushing and start working with your brain, please go over and visit drtrishleigh.com to book your brain mapping session with me. Now, as I promised, I added the video link where we do the deep dive into the brain hijack, the miswire, and the rewire. It's called Why Fantasizing is Crushing Your Libido. Check that one out, and remember, control your brain, or in fact, it will control you. I'll see you next time.